After the conclusion of Eurovision 2025, the fandom had two big questions. Will Israel finally face consequences? And
He wanted us to learn.
And did you?
while KAJ did not win, they did land an impressive result and proved that Sweden can actually do well with something that isn't overproduced English language pop. So it's natural that people are wondering if this has made any impact on the people at SVT and if we can expect Sweden to step out of its comfort zone more frequently in the future. And the first logical place to look for clues on this matter will be in who's in the upcoming edition of Melfest, which songwriters are involved, those things, which is exactly what I intend to analyze in this video. First of all, I need to clarify what I believe is a misconception among some Eurofans. One of the changes for Melfest 2026 is that a new selection committee tasked with choosing which submissions to accept has been put in place, the purpose of which is to make the selection process more transparent and in touch with the audience. The committee consists of four people, one of whom is Colin Gunnarsson. And I'm sorry, I don't buy the hype. And let me explain why. If you disliked Melfest 2022, 2023, or 2024, if you at any point thought those editions were boring, generic, or soft internal-ish, then Colin Gunnarsson is not your queen. Between 2022 and 2025, she alone called the shots in selecting the entries. 2023 was a soft internal, 2025 was supposed to be one, and I think an argument can be made for 2024 also being a soft internal. But she invited KAJ. That's lovely, but that's the thing. She did one thing that was good for Melfest, and I don't even think it was intentional. The general public did not believe KAJ would win. The bookies didn't believe it. Not even KAJ themselves believed they had a snowball's chance in hell. Do you earnestly believe that Colin Gunnarsson was the lone genius who could predict KAJ winning Melfest in a record televote and then becoming a favorite to win in Basel? Or is it not plausible that KAJ's inclusion was intended to be a we have Hooja at home moment that went horribly right? I guess there's also hope for Sweden sending something ethnic in the near future, since Colin Gunnarsson selected Nordman and Jon Henrik Fjällgren for Melfest 2023, huh? That's how you people sound. Is it possible that Colin has learned something from KAJ? Of course, figuring that out is part of this video's premise after all, but her track record means she has an uphill battle to prove herself as not another cog in the Belfast generic pop machine. I look at the evidence in its totality, not just one outlier. Melfest received almost 4,000 submissions this year. This is not only a record, but clearly the product of KAJ inspiring people to apply under the optimistic assumption that you don't need to conform to the Melfest format we're all used to. Colin Gunnarsson and the three other people in the selection committee now have a golden opportunity to prove those people right. Keep that in mind going forward, 3,888 submissions. If the roster picked from these 3,888 reads as disappointing, I will not be a happy camper. Before we get to the artists, let me speculate, predict, and wish a little. Swedish tabloids have, as they do every year, leaked most of the roster. I have seen the leaks, but I won't be taking them into account for this. I've already talked extensively about how I'd like Clearsuda back, and I haven't changed my mind on that. However, I'd like to add a caveat that he said in an interview back in August that he, at the time, hadn't thought of applying and might not find the time to do so, as he's working on an album. I won't rule him out just yet, and if he does skip 2026, I'm still confident we'll see him in 2027. I'd be thrilled to have Ella Tilitielo back. Having a more serious entries sung in Scanian is a refreshing niche that I'd like to see more of. Both Mela Ahmad and Maria Sur have been seen with Gefson over the summer, so they seem plausible. Omar Rudberg has announced he's on hiatus from acting, so he could also show up. Generally speaking, KAJ's influence giving us at least one yoke entry that isn't we put a random celebrity without any musical background behind the mic at gunpoint would be much appreciated. But on that note, Gunilla Persson has threatened to return to Melfest with an entry written by Adam Woods. Whatever. Finally, I need to clear up something I've seen people talk about a lot. No, under no circumstances is Ron Selmerlöw coming back in 2026. It's for the same reasons he's divorced, the alleged domestic violence, but especially the substance abuse. A not insignificant amount of Swedes flat out refuse to see addicts as human beings. San Marino has a better shot at winning than Moss does at returning to Melfest within the next 5 years. Stop fucking saying he will. I think that's all I have in me. See you after the artist's announcement.
The next day.
Well, that sure was one of the Melfest rosters of all time. Let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. Why the hell is Robin Bengtsson here again? Robin Bengtsson, musically the worst of Sweden's generic man pop era of the mid to late 2010s, Robin Bengtsson, who was most recently seen in 2022 with a song so abysmal it received a single-digit televote score in the final. Why does he need to be back, let alone for a second time under Colin Gunnarsson's watch? Oh, and it's a country song too. It's not like there were two of them already in this selection. 3,888 submissions. Fuck you. Oh wow, Robin Bengtsson is boring. What an original criticism. Okay, fine, let me get controversial then. I do not care for Alexa. Squidward. Musically, I don't mind her, but on a meta level, this choice is beyond cynical. I do not believe for a second that a single person, when KAJ won, thought, you know who I'd like to see next year? The winner of Christer Björkman's Vanity Project. That would be the natural next step in Sweden's journey to become less generic. But apparently, I'm fucking stupid because she is generating a lot of hype in the fandom that I cannot get behind. Let me spell it out. If you had issues with Sweden sending Loreen in 2023 and attempting to send Måns Zelmerlöw in 2025, you should probably look at Alexa's inclusion with suspicion. SVT has run out of winners they can realistically recycle. Måns is a burned bridge for reasons we've already been over. Sending Loreen yet again would only prove the allegations. Charlotte Perrelli is stuck in Kia asylum. ABBA is obviously never happening, and SVT is not yet desperate enough to send the weird Christians. But American Song Contest is basically Swedish, right? Bada boom! We now have someone who can approximate the role of a past Swedish Eurovision winner. What a relief! It's fine if you enjoy her music, but please don't pretend this is an exciting choice. It was ridiculously telegraphed. Another gripe. This roster is ridiculously returnee heavy. Literally half of the selection is returnees, and out of that half, a third of them are from 2025 specifically. I crunched some numbers, and in the recent past, 12 returnees has been the standard. 3,888 submissions, by the way. 2021 was the most recent time we've had this many returnees from the previous year, and that was understandable given the impact of COVID. What's the excuse this time? We only needed Glesula, the sadly absent Ella Tilitielo, and maybe Maida Omar. I also get Saga Ludvigsson to an extent, but Alvin and Wilhelm Buchhaus do not strike me as artists who needed to come back immediately, even though they do have unfinished business with Melfest. Especially Alvin could chill for a couple of years and develop as an artist. Whatever, at least he's doing Swedish this time. Alvin and Wilhelm should not have shared a heat, they killed each other. I'm glad that Sutil learned from their mistake and separated them. I listened through the back catalogs of the non-Alexa newcomers, and I'm afraid a lot of those who work in Swedish fit the exact same formula SVT likes to pigeonhole the Swedish language entries into. Beautiful, yet slow and quiet songs that die in the heat. The main exceptions would be Juliet and Koslagda. And speaking of, Koslagda is a very fun addition, genuinely no gripes with it. However, I don't think they're making it very far either. Maybe they could snake through the final qual, but that requires their existing fanbase locking in, and based on what I've seen, a lot of them are mad about them being sellouts for appearing in Melfest so soon after ditching the NSFW part of their name. Sad. I don't mind Sanna Nielsen so much, but she doesn't seem like she should have unfinished business with Eurovision either, unless that unfinished business is I want to perform something that isn't in broken English. Okay, another thing I need to get out of my system. Brandsta City Slickers, Helsingborg mention, woo! Let's have some delicious bulle med bulle, watch Hata Göteborg.
Varför har ni inte tagit hand om lille Basse? Eftersom lille Basse har pissat på mattan.
And realize Como Ta Mig was about brain drain because there's nothing to fucking do here if you don't like football. During the SVT News program discussing the selection, they speculated that they might be this year's KAJ. That's cute, but they're dead on arrival. This hurts me more than it hurts you. Felicia is another face I'm glad to see. I will have to advise you to temper your expectations slightly if you're expecting Unga och Fria too. My system is probably closer to her standalone work, like Black Widow. Medina and Smash Into Pieces are also fun, given the latter aren't just going to reheat 6 feet under nachos again. Junior Levine is dangerously close to the celebrity with no musical background brand of yoke entry, but somehow he seems like he fits better in a Melfest environment than fucking Edward Bloom did, so maybe he can surprise us. And the song is named Copacabana Boy. Close enough. Welcome back, Sean Banan. Okay, I can't hold on to this anymore, guys. He did it. The absolute madman. Gresula is back. And he didn't succumb to the songwriter rot. He didn't even bring back Jan Russell and Amanda Nordelius. Mr. President, A second original songwriting team has hit Gresula's Melfest career. I'm gonna say that for now, I'm most hyped about Gresula, Felicia, Medina, and Kolslagda. I could probably also be surprised by Smash Into Pieces, Timo Räisänen, Juliet, and Alvin. But who do I think is winning? It's ridiculously early to say, but one early clue I like to put way too much faith in is the heat distribution. We don't know the exact running orders yet, but we do know which heats everyone will be in. And if you're a Gresula fan, I might have bad news. He's in Heat 1. SVT has a habit of putting the entries they believe generate the most hype in the later heats. Okay, I hear you. The Mamas in 2020 and Cornelia Jacobs in 2022 were both in Heat 1. But to Cornelia, I have to say that she was very obscure until she floored everyone with a refreshing and authentic Melfest performance. A lot like Gresula, if you come to think of it. It makes sense that SVT underestimated her at the time. But Gresula has already proven himself, yet he was plunked into Heat 1. I can't help but interpret that as a bad sign. With the Mamas, you might have a point, but that year's fourth heat was pretty ass if we're gonna be honest. The introduction of the fifth heat has made SVT a little more unpredictable in where to place their hype moments and aura. Unforgettable was in Heat 5, but Revolution was in Heat 4, so I'm gonna consider the likely qualifiers from both. We have Kimberly, who, as a Swedish Idol winner, is a tried and true concept for Sweden. We'll love to send those. Maybe Smash Into Pieces. Blade might also be in contention. Sanna Nielsen, and above all, Alexa. The past Melfest winner curse might trigger for Sanna Nielsen, and maybe Cassiopeia's track record shows us that K-pop might not be that viable in Melfest. I want to have faith in Gresula. Unless somebody really wows me, I am confident that half of me will be the most authentic and refreshing package Sweden could possibly send. However, I think a lot of things have to go right to pave that path, and I'm also afraid there's no real KAJ effect to be seen here. That's all for now. Leave a comment, or don't, I'm not your mom.